What's going on, guys, and welcome to match recap and player ratings for yesterday's game, Watford against Manchester United, finishing Watford 4, Manchester United 1. I'm not surprised anymore, but it still doesn't hurt any less than when you see results like that happen in your club. Obviously, Solskjaer is now officially sacked. Carrick is now taking over as an interim until we get another interim, and I don't like that in itself because it's already just... It's not a change, really, because he's got the same philosophy, the same beliefs as Solskjaer had. He was his right-hand man. And although Solskjaer's gone, Carrick is still there taking over, and it's not really a change in my eyes. So, frustrated with that. Lack of ambition again when we've had a chance to... we've actually got rid of Solskjaer, but all of the coaching staff should have gone with him. So that is a problem. But into yesterday's game... defensively all over the place once again. Lack of stuff up top. There was a few moments where Ronaldo probably could have got at least a couple of goals. And the midfield, again, not great at all. So there's a few players that stood out for me. David De Gea off the bat. Them two, that double penalty save that he did, fantastic from him. And I felt sorry for him. He looked gutted in the post-match interview. He looked like he'd actually been crying. And I feel sorry for him. He's doing what he needs to do at his end of the pitch, but the defence is letting him down. They were still trying to blame him yesterday for some of the goals. I think it's sickening. He was arguably man of the match for us yesterday. So David De Gea, for me, gets an 8. That double penalty save, brilliant. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I give a 3. Out of position a lot, jogging back a lot. Just he doesn't look bothered. I give Lindelof a 3 as well. I thought weak again. Maybe didn't. I don't think he was. Look, Maguire we'll get to in a minute. He wasn't as bad as Maguire, but he still wasn't good enough. And just he's not strong enough. He's out of position a lot. Just wasn't great again. So Lindelof a 3 as well. Maguire gets a 1. If I could give a 0 on these ratings, I would. First tackle is a yellow, and the second is as well. The second one is atrocious. But the fashion in which he did it, letting your teammates down like that in a game where you're already up against it as it is, and then just throwing your armband, trying to throw it to the ground basically when you get sent off. Didn't argue it at all when he got the red. They were both yellow cards, so he looks like he's give up. And that's our captain. And for me, the way it happened yesterday with him and his response and his body language, it was absolutely shocking. And it was a joke. So for me, Maguire gets a 1. Luke Shaw doesn't seem to be the same player that he was even at the Euros. But even before the Euros for United, that player's gone. I think his confidence is gone. And he's making a lot of mistakes that he wasn't making previously. So... again, a poor game from Shaw. I'd give him a 3. McTominay, I thought was poor again. Just needless errors unforced errors where he's giving passes away. Just no creativity. It's basic. Poor. Matic, I like Matic, but I thought he was poor as well. I think his legs are gone. I think that he's too old to be at the club now, which is a shame, because I think if we'd have had him a few years back, when he was playing for Chelsea, we needed him then, because I think he is past it now. I didn't want to feel like he was, but I feel like he's been doing it consistently since when he's been getting chances. So for me, Matic was poor again. Give him a 3. Sancho, I thought, was very poor in the first half on the defensive end. Not getting back enough, and even on the ball I thought he was a bit poor. Second half I thought he really stepped it up, provided numerous assists for the likes of Ronaldo that probably should have scored at least a couple from him. I thought he was very lively in the second half and arguably man of the match for his second half performance. So I'd give Sancho an 8 overall, but first half as low as a 2, maybe even a 3. But overall, after his second half performance, I'd give him an 8. Maybe that's a little bit generous, but I did think he looked bright. Bruno, he's another one like Shaw, who in recent months is just not the player he was. He had a shot outside the box, just outside the D, that he skied over, whereas previously he's scoring, or it's at least on target, and he skied it. He's going over like he's breaking, like he's a bit of China every time someone slightly touches him, which I hate to see. And then at the end, he's got the cheek to tell the fans what to do when they're coming over to the crowd and they're giving Ollie stick. And he's saying, no, you blame all of us. Well, why is Ollie untouchable? Now, I know he's gone and it's kind of old news now, but I want to speak about it because not enough people do. Bruno, as much as I like Bruno, he has gone missing in the last few months for me. And he's thrown his toys out of the pram. And then he's got the cheek to try and tell the crowd what to do when you're not putting in performances yourself. He's saying blame all the team and not just Ollie. But Ollie has to come under scrutiny too. He's not untouchable. So I didn't like that at all. Like, you can't be talking to the fans like that. We pay your wages, basically. So hush down. A 3 for Bruno. I thought he was really poor. Really poor. Rashford, I actually thought looked lively at times. Didn't do anything magnificent, but I did think he looked lively and not one of the worst on the pitch. So I thought Rashford did okay. I'd give him above average with a 6. And Ronaldo, I give him a 4 overall in the end, because he had at least 2 chances where I think he should score, and usually does score, but it just wasn't happening. And he wasn't involved all the time, but the few chances with the likes of, I remember Sancho, I think, created at least 2 chances for him, and he didn't bury them. So a little bit disappointing from Ronaldo, but I can understand it with the mentality around that club right now and the frustration he must be feeling in just overall performances game to game from other players. He didn't do it himself yesterday, but he usually turns up. He didn't yesterday, but in other games he has, and the others haven't, like they didn't yesterday. But for me, below average yesterday, Ronaldo, I'd give him a 4. And then the subs, we had Delo, Donny Van Der Beek, Lingard, Martial. I thought Martial, he was started one of the moves off that I think the goal came from. I believe he passed it out to Sancho, and then when Ronaldo headed it back to Donny to score, that all started from Martial's initial pass. So I gave him a 6 for that, but then I bumped it down because after that he went missing and was non-existent, and I give it a 3 in the end to Martial. Lingard, not enough time on the pitch really to have an impact, and his face said it all. He looks more pissed off than most of the team that are playing when he's hardly playing, and he looks more annoyed than most of them, so that speaks volumes in itself. I give him an average of a 5. Delo, there was one of the goals, Matic, it's kind of his fault to start with because it's a high ball from a goal kick, I believe it was. He doesn't kill it in the air. He lets the ball bounce over his head, and then Delo's left to deal with, I think it was that Dennis for Watford. He's left to deal with him, and he can't really do a lot more than he does. He can't get any tighter to him, but he still kind of turns him and finishes from a narrow angle. But more of that is on Matic, I think. But it's a mistake. He can't stop the shot, and for me, that's a 2 for Delo because he wasn't on that long, but the one time you need to do something in your position, I feel like he needs to do better. And then Donny Van Der Beek, I thought was brilliant. So many times where he put Ronaldo through where he should have scored. Like Sancho, various times he's setting people up and they're not capitalising on it. I thought it was a breath of fresh air, Donny. And look, fate would have it. He was the last goal scorer that went under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in his job. He's the last goal scorer, and it's got a funny way of coming around and biting you, Ollie, hasn't it? I loved you as a player, but it wasn't working, and the way you treated Donny, disgusting. And I'm glad that he was the goal that did it, and he played as well as he did, because it proves that the fans have been right all this time, and he should have been playing and given more opportunity. I thought he was brilliant yesterday, Donny, and I'd give him an 8. Sancho also an 8, and David De Gea an 8 as well. So them 3 are in contention for man of the match. Ollie's last game in charge, as it would prove, I give him a 1. If I could give a 0, I would. Tactically, rubbish again. What's our style of play? What's the mentality? Why are you not losing your shit on the sidelines when it's going wrong? Why are you looking at Carrick and everyone? Because you're obviously clueless. I loved you as a player, as I said, but criticism has to fall at your door as a manager, because it's not what you did as a player now. It's a different time. It's what you're doing as a coach and as a manager, and it ain't good enough. I'm glad to see the back of Ollie as a manager. I hated watching us under him, and I'm glad to see him go. It is what it is. For me, I give him a 1. Man of the match for me yesterday, I'm going to give it to Donny. I thought he livened Sancho up in the second half, and De Gea. De Gea for them 2 penalty saves. He gets an 8 as well, just for that. But for me, man of the match is Donny Van Der Beek. Hopefully, with Carrick now, I hope he gives him more of a chance. And I hope that Don doesn't just shoot off now and leave the team. I wouldn't be mad at him if he did, because of the way he's been treated. But hopefully he sticks around a bit longer now, and we get to see more chances given to him, because he was brilliant yesterday. So Donny Van Der Beek gets my man of the match, but a shocking performance. Not one that I'm surprised by anymore, because we've had years of this now. And I think the club is... they're acting like cowards, because they've basically just give Carrick the job because he's someone already there, and it's not really a change in my eyes. It's safety FC again. So as much as I'm glad to see Ollie go, Carrick should be gone as well. So look, give him a chance, I will, but I can't see it being any different to how it has been, because he was Ollie's right-hand man, and it's just a crazy one, but a poor performance one I'm not surprised by again. I feel like we should have beat Watford, even with all the problems going on right now. But it just goes to show that unless you have a style of play and your players turn up and know what they're doing, which comes from the coaching staff as well, you're up against it. And we really are, and we're in bad times, in desperate need. Shocking performance, as I said. Fair play to Watford to capitalise on that. And they were ruthless. But there are certain players in that team I feel sorry for. The likes of David De Gea, Donny Van Der Beek, Ronaldo, Lingard even as well. So, look, I hope... Look, we got Villarreal next as well in the week. I would have fancied us for that game, potentially. But now, I mean, you can't get performances against certain teams. The likes of Watford, no disrespect. I think Villarreal are better than Watford are. And if we can't beat Watford, what does that say about us? So I'm nervous now about the Villarreal game. And I wouldn't be surprised if we lose that one now, because we're a mess right now. A very big mess. So I'll be back for the match ratings and player recaps after the Villarreal game as well, guys. I'll see you guys soon.